Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Red Talk. Nick and Sam here to discuss last night's game in full. Quite a gloomy Sunday today, as I'm sure you can imagine. A lot of sore heads and a lot of broken hearts out there. And I'm with you guys. Don't worry about it. Sam is on the show with me. Thank you for joining me. I can imagine what your thoughts are, but yeah, what was your take on the game as a whole? And what was your thoughts on the lineup pre-match going into it? Let's try and go through it chronologically if we can.
The lineup I thought was the right one. Back four, 4-3-3. I thought, yeah, he's got that spot on. I thought the personnel picked with the right ones as well. Maybe there's an argument to be had that Rashford instead of Saka. Maybe there's that argument to be had. I think Rashford's deserved to play for England the way he's started, and I don't think he's had enough opportunities, but it is what it is. I didn't think Saka played badly at all, so you can sort of split hairs about that, I suppose. But yeah, the lineup, if we're just getting into the sort of lineup, I thought lineup and the formation was correct. I didn't have an issue with any of it. I was expecting a back five. I was really, really thinking that was going to happen, but it didn't. So yeah, I have no issues with that bit.
Yeah, and then the first half, there was a few moments in there where you're like, it was close for both teams, but ultimately the Tchouaméni strike was the one that kind of
Ridiculous.
nailed it, the nail in the coffin in the first thing. Was there anything, if you was to nitpick about that, anything that slightly concerned you about the goal, or do you think it was just like basically a strike out of nowhere?
I don't want to have a go at Pickford because I think he's been for England. He's not put a foot wrong. I think maybe he took a step. I think just as Tchouaméni struck it, he took a step the other way. Like, he sort of stepped that way, and then the shot came over this way, and I think that maybe then left him shot, because he did get a hand to it, didn't he? I think. Yeah. So maybe if he was more central, he might have got a stronger hand to it, or more of a hand on it, and that might have pushed it wide. But like, I'm nitpicking. Like, I'm not. Yeah. I don't like it. It was a hell of a strike from a great player, so I'm nitpicking it the best of that. So I can't really have a go at him for it.
The one thing because I had to go watch it back this morning because I couldn't remember half of it, if being completely honest. So I had to go watch it back. Unfortunately, I've done my own solo reaction, which is I'm going to drop tomorrow morning. So make sure you check that out. But the one thing I noticed was the amount of space he had when he picked it up, because I don't think anyone was kind of expecting someone like Tchouaméni to hit it like that. No. I'm not sure. I followed his career quite closely when he's been in France and stuff, but I've never seen him. He don't do that on a regular basis. That's not a thing that
he's not. He's not doing that for Madrid, is he? So
yeah. So I'm thinking maybe that was the players' thoughts going into that. When he picked it up, they were expecting a strike. He had quite a lot of space, but to get it in the bottom corner from there in a World Cup quarter-final against England, like, it's fucking unbelievable. Yeah. What about the ref in the first half as well?
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Because obviously the phase of play before that,
there's a foul,
Saka on the right hand side. Yeah, Saka on the right hand side got mullered, got kicked by Upamecano in the leg. Nothing official. No. The fourth official didn't wave anything. Ref didn't say anything. So, what was your thoughts on the ref's performance in that game?
Awful. Like, that ref performance was up there with the guy for. You remember the Atletico match United had? You remember that? I was like, is this the same dude? Because it fucking feels like it. Like, absolutely ridiculous decisions. I know we'll get on to the second penalty later, but the fact that he didn't think that was a penalty and he had to be convinced to go check the VAR on that when Thingy just gets absolutely shoulder checked for not even looking at the ball is insane. So yeah, that ref, there was a couple of things where I was shouting, going, why is that not a foul? And then he'd give it immediately for the French one, like immediately afterwards when they got taken down. And then he'd play advantages when there was no advantage. Like, he played an advantage for England and the ball was going back towards our goal. I was like, where's the advantage? Like, what advantage have you seen? I don't understand it. And it's just, I thought he was the worst part of the entire game. He was absolutely 100%. Shocking. And yeah, I no investigation will happen because it's fucking FIFA and they're corrupt as absolute hell. Harry Maguire, I know, was in the interview and he was basically saying the referee was horrifically bad, terrible, but he doesn't want to say too much because he'll get fined. But he kept mentioning it throughout the interview, going, the ref's really bad, but I can't say anything. So, wouldn't surprise me to see Harry Maguire get fined for those comments. So, yeah, the referee, terrible.
Well, Jude Bellingham, it's hard to believe that he's 19 because the interviews that he gives, it's like a senior pro. He's like a captain. And he did an interview straight after the game and he said similar things. And I don't know if you remember for Dortmund, he actually got fined heavily because he got asked about a ref in the Bayern Munich game and he was favouring him, except that he was proper going on him. He got fined about 100 grand, I think, because he was proper drilling him. And similar thing again with this ref. And even in that first half, again, there was another one where Kane got fouled on the. It was like on the 18-yard box, so it was literally it was that is classed. When you get fouled on the line, it's classed as part of that box, so it would be a penalty.
Well, it's stupid because even if it was sorry to interrupt, so if it was even if it's before the line, the fact that VAR decides whether it's a penalty or not, and if it's not a penalty, we don't get a free kick.
Yeah,
like either way, it's a foul. Like whether it's in or out of the line, that should have been the decision. It's a foul, so we should have had a free kick or a penalty. That's the decision to make. It's fucking insane. Yeah,
so then they don't flag that because it's not part of the box, so don't class as a penalty. So why can't you give a foul for a free kick then? Why can you only overturn it if it's a penalty? It makes absolutely no sense to me. And I think the officiating throughout the full World Cup's been a bit off. Like,
the Argentina game, that was
like
insane.
he was just showing off with yellow cards. He broke a record for the World Cup, most yellow cards given. So there's definitely got to be some investigation or something into it. I'm not saying that's why we lost because it isn't why we lost, but it's a big part of it. Let's be honest, it's a massive, massive part of it. And I'm sure if France were on the receiving side of that, they'd be saying the exact same things.
Sure.
So we're 1-0 down. Probably should have had a penalty, a few more. I've not even been 1-0 down. And then we go into the second half. Great mentality, start on the front foot. Saka gets on the right-hand side, cuts in. Gets taken down by the goal scorer, Tchouaméni, and Harry Kane takes the penalty. How did you feel before Kane was taking the penalty? Was you confident?
Yeah, I think he's a good penalty taker. Like, I know they brought his stats up. He missed 2 in the last of 12, which is it's a pretty good record. Like, I'll take that. He has bottled them before for Tottenham, hasn't he? Like, he's done a couple where he's bottled it. So, but I always thought he was going to... I was nervous. I was definitely nervous because it's England and it's penalties and it never goes well a lot of the time. So I was definitely nervous, but if anybody was going to take it, Harry Kane's probably the guy I'd pick to take it because he's got a decent record of it. So, I wasn't nervous and it went in. So, we were back in it and it was happy days from that point. I think that's the point where we decided, we can win this game. And we started playing a lot better than we did in the first half. And we were dominating the ball for long periods. There's a lot of good play, a lot of good sort of passing into the final third and stuff like that. And then I think France were on the back foot for a lot of that game. Like, I don't think they were at their best or in any way making us look like they were the world champions and we were not. Like, they seemed to be the sort of second best team for me after that penalty, for sure.
Yeah, it was the first half was very scrappy, wasn't it? It was a bit like back and forth, like both teams having pops and stuff. France more doing it in kind of springing on the attack, like counter attacks, and England more kind of possession based. Then the second half, like you just said, then I think we took the game by the scruff of its neck, started playing much better. There was a few big chances. I think Maguire hit the post. I'm not sure what stage that was in the second half, but he nearly scored. But equally, Giroud had an opportunity as well.
There was one as well who shot and Lloris had to tip it over the bar.
Oh, Bellingham.
Yeah, Bellingham in the shot as well. So
the volley that he just tipped over the bar. So both teams had very good chances, but it's fine margins and it's unfortunate, man, because then Giroud Giroud has an opportunity in the second half where he heads it, nearly scores. Pickford makes a good save and finds himself in a similar position again. Towards the end of the game, you got 6 minutes left plus extra time. You kind of like, that's it now. That's the nail in the coffin. Was that your similar thought pattern as well? As soon as that goal went in from Giroud, was you like, we're done now?
I don't think we played badly for the most part, but that ball from Griezmann onto Giroud's head was something else. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? Like, you can't defend against that. That is like the most accurate ball I've ever seen in my life. He literally put it.
Griezmann.
Yeah. He literally put it within inches of Giroud's head. All Giroud had to do is like that, and it's in the back of the net. And that's why they're the world champions, I guess, because they're able to do stuff like that on the fly and able to do it consistently. And that's how it is. And at that point, I knew there'd be a lot of added time. Like I knew they'd be, because every World Cup game they seem to have had
Yeah,
8,
8 minutes
9,
in it.
10 minutes, whatever. So I knew we'd get some added time. So I was like, I wasn't absolutely to the point where I was like, yeah, it's fucking done. We're not winning, mate. I was like, there will be an opportunity will happen.
Yeah.
Something will happen where we'll have an opportunity. It's just whether we can sort of convert it and make it happen and make a goal out of it. I said an opportunity will happen, and then obviously we'll get on to the next bit where that happened.
Jude Bellingham picks up on the halfway line, long ball into Mount. Did you think straight away penalty as soon as you saw it?
He shoulder checked him. Shoulder checked him. He wasn't looking at the ball. The flight, he wasn't even checking the flight of the ball. He literally saw the Mason Mount. I was like, I'm taking him out, and he took him out. And it should have been a red card because he's the last man, and it's a goal scoring opportunity because we don't know where that flight of that ball was going to go before that. So that's a goal scoring opportunity. So it should have been a red card. And the fact that the referee had to be convinced to go check the VAR.
Yeah.
And then had to be convinced, because it's the last man, he had to be told it's a fucking booking.
Yeah.
It's like, is this guy on his first day on the job or what? Like, does he know what these fucking things are for? Like, you understand how the rules of the game? It was absolutely ridiculous.
Well, Sky Sports had a ref on today on the thing on Sky Sports News. He was talking about it. He was like, this is from a ref as well. He was like, I don't get how a guy like that is officiating at the level of the game that was on last night, because he made a lot of shocking decisions, and that's from a neutral perspective. That's from a ref, so it's not like there's any bias in this. Like this is a guy who's ref top games before, so even the refs are calling it out on the guy's kind of bullshit. But yeah, we do eventually get a penalty from it. Luckily enough, we do have VAR in the game now, so we can. I suppose
took long, but if he hadn't been forced to check it, it wouldn't have been. He wouldn't have given it.
Oh yeah.
So
Kane then steps up to take another one. I can only describe my feelings I was obviously at the fan park last night. Everyone had their head in their hands, and he was like, even though it was Harry Kane, I was speaking to everyone around me, and I was like, trust me, this guy will bag it. I have absolutely no worries whatsoever. And he was like, oh, I don't know, that head in the hands and stuff like that. And I was like, it's against a guy who he trains with regular. It's his teammate, it's Lloris. He scored the first one. The confidence is on his side. I could not visualize a world where he missed that second penalty. I just thought he'd be nailed on. And he skies it.
Before you go further, I had the opposite thoughts. When I was sat around with people, I was going, Lloris trains with him. He knows where he puts these penalties all day, every day. So he's going to know where he's going to go. And he scored the first one, so he's going to be like, right, if he's put it this side this time, he's going to go this way this time, and he's going to know. And so I went the opposite way. I thought he's going to have his number now because he scored one against him, and he knows exactly, because he's using him in training every day. He knows where he puts them. Yeah. So I think I thought the opposite side of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, that different kind of thought process. And then obviously he skies it, and you're like, that's the moment.
Yeah.
That's the knife in it that kind of in your back. You're like, oof, yeah, that's done now. And that just shows games done by small margins. But I honestly, overall, I did think we was the better team, especially in the second half. And that's you can't really say that with England over the past. We've watched them for years and years. And in previous tournaments, you're coming up against France, you're kind of clinging on, holding on, trying to get a goal out of it from a set piece or something. But I thought we took it to him. I was a little bit surprised that we went with a back four. I thought, like yourself, he may go for a back five. But in general, the game overall, I thought we was decent. Was anyone individually who impressed you, or do you think it was, again, more like a collective thing?
I think Bellingham stands out to me. That guy is another level. Like, he's another level, not just because of what he does on the pitch, like in terms of his ball winning, his forward play, his passing, his tackling, all of that sort of stuff. His leadership, like, the guy's a leader. He's a born fucking leader. He's 19. Like, the guy is like, he seems like he's Jordan Henderson, like that kind of character, but he's 19. Yeah. It's just fucking insane. Like, he's not had the time and the experience to be that way, and he just has it in him. And he was the first guy to go over to Harry Kane when he missed. As soon as he missed the penalty, he's the first one on him, like speaking to him, giving him like sort of pep talk and stuff like that. So yeah, Bellingham for me, I think it's his tournament. I think he stood out head and shoulders above everybody for me. I think a lot of players had a good tournament. Rashford, in for his part, I thought he had a very good tournament. Harry Maguire, I thought had a
just
really
on Rashford. Sorry to interrupt you. Do you think that the stub was too late with Rashford?
Yeah.
Would you have brought one earlier?
We were sat watching it. There was a couple of the guys around, and we were all saying about sort of 60 minutes. I would have brought Rashford in, just because I think we were on the front foot and we were pushing. and we had like France not on the ropes, but they were like sitting back and just sort of trying to keep us out and keep the sort of pressure off themselves. And I think when you bring someone on like Rashford who can get in behind, they can stretch people, can run at people, it makes defenders worry. They start panicking when you've got players like that who can run at him and stuff like that. So I thought we should have brought him on a lot earlier. And then I know Sterling's done well for England, but with what's happened at home, is his mental state there? Is he all right? And then he's been away for a week in London. He's just flew back. And you choose to bring him on instead of Rashford, for example, who's been fit, ready. He's been firing. He's been fantastic. Not that Sterling's had a shit tournament.
No, he's been all right.
He's been fine. But I think Rashford's the one with the momentum and playing well. So that would have been my substitution I would have made. And maybe that would have changed things.
Yeah.
We don't know. Obviously, hindsight's 2020 at this point. Like, we could all say things. But for me, that's the change I would have made. That would have been the one that I kind of think this is where I have the issues with Southgate, is these sort of decisions he gets wrong, and it costs you in big games. It costs you. Like this is it.
So you think it was more reactive rather than proactive with that Rashford substitution, basically?
Yeah. I didn't understand the Mason Mount substitution either. He won the penalty, so I suppose that gamble paid off. If you want to look at it that way. I mean, so you can look at it that way, but obviously we missed the penalty, so it is what it is at that point. But yeah, I think Southgate as a man manager is very, very good, creating a harmony and a team and getting these players together and sort of gelling well together. I think he's very, very good. I think that's a really good side of him. Tactically, I think he's quite naive at some points and doesn't make decisions at right times when he should. He's very much like Ollie. Ollie's very reactive rather than going, right, what can I change to know what these next 10 minutes or these next 15 minutes to make sure the game goes in our favour. Ollie would make things changes 80 minutes, 85 minutes. It's like the game's gone, it's too late. And you just wait for individual quality to happen. And I feel that's what Southgate tends to do. He tends to rely on individual quality. And I thought if we would have brought Rashford on, maybe play Rashford from the start, and then you could bring on Sterling, or then you could bring on Saka. You could do it that way. I don't know, but
I thought Saka played quite well, though. Yeah. I thought Saka was good.
Yeah, he's good, but like I think he tired. I think he started tiring towards the end, and I'm always hesitant to bring Phil Foden off because I think he's electric, and I think he's always capable of doing something insane. And his quality is just absolutely ridiculous. So I would never take Phil Foden off. So you have to take somebody off. So Saka was the one I would have sort of took off. But yeah, my thoughts on it is England, this is the team we are. We, at big moments, the shirt weighs too heavy. Like, we can't seem to get over that pressure and that expectation. And when it comes to big moments, like, for example, the Harry Kane penalty, we bottle it and we don't seem to come through it. We always seem to get to a moment where you think, this is it, and we never seem to get over that hump. And I just think
the players have to take responsibility for that, though.
Of course, for sure. For sure. Yeah, definitely. And that's where we're at as a team. I think if we can win something, I think that sort of weight comes off because it's like we've been there, we've won it, we can do it again. But until we do that, it's going to be an absolute struggle. And I don't see us getting over that, not in the next sort of couple of tournaments anyway. I know we've got a young team. We've got a lot of players who are like under the age of 25, so they're only going to get better as time goes on and stuff like that. But I think for me, I would change the manager. I'd bring in a more tactical, nous, sound manager because I think that team is now knitted itself together. I'd keep Southgate around for sure. I think he should definitely stick around in the FA because of what he's done, the way he's brought these teams together, the way he set up the youth system, etc., to bring them through. Because they've all played together for years now, haven't they? People like Saka, Foden, etc. They've all played together for years. So I think he needs to be involved in the FA going forward. But I think manager, tactics-wise, I think we need somebody more sort of suitable.
Well, I want to dive into Southgate shortly. I do want to speak about that because I've got a couple of questions on that for you. But I want to give a shout out to Kyle Walker as well because Kyle Walker shut Kylian Mbappe down last night. Like, he had little moments where, you know, and after the reaction to the Kane thing proper pissed me off because you see the cut they did straight away. Kane missed. Mbappe's face was just like, you little prick. Like, that just made me hate him like 10 times more. Was fuming with that. But he did nothing last night, Mbappe, did he?
Nah, he was
Really?
he was quiet. I was panicking, expecting it to happen. I think Griezmann had Griezmann and Giroud were their main threats. I think they were the two main threats. Dembele didn't have a special game, to be honest with you. Mbappe was quiet. Tchouaméni, aside from the shot, was quiet for the most part. I think that was it. So
Rabiot was all right, I thought.
Rabiot
was all right. Got into good areas and stuff.
Rabiot was decent, but I think Giroud and Griezmann were their two standout players. Yeah, and Mbappe was quiet, and he's done it before, Kyle Walker, though, hasn't he? He's when City have played Madrid, I think he's 2-1. I think he's got
PSG.
2 victories. Yeah, sorry, yeah. I think I'm just
He's not moved there yet.
I'm expecting it to happen now.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's already done it twice. So like he's got previous. So yeah, I think Kyle Walker did fantastically well to keep him quiet.
Just a couple of stats on last night's game as well. So 57 to 43% possession for England, 16 to 8 shots, 4 to 2 on target, 5 to 2 corners, 3 to 2 big chances. We won more duels, tackles, and interceptions in that game. So they definitely held the role. They should be proud of that, absolutely. Got it to go up, like, because World Cups only come around, like, what is it, every fucking 4 years or whatever. So it's the next one's in USA, which is a long time away. You think some of these players like Kyle Walker, Harry Kane, Jordan Henderson, probably their last World Cup, depending on what level they can maintain. At that age, you never really know. So do you think that will be the last one for them? Especially Kane. So Harry Kane's so important, isn't it? The captain, striker.
Kane is what is he, 30?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he might make the next World Cup. He might make it, but I don't know if you start with him. I think maybe you then have to go with a younger striker up front. I think then you have to start looking at somebody else to sort of take up that mantle and be the main striker.
Who would that be, do you think?
Well, that's what we've got to work out, haven't we? We've not got many true number 9s coming through England at the minute, unfortunately. Like
standout ones. We've got good ones. We've got good strikers.
Got all right.
Ones who can take the mantle.
We've got Ivan Toney, who's a good striker. Is he ready for that sort of responsibility and pressure?
Your boy
Tammy, he's had a bad season, so let's see what happens with Tammy. I like him a lot. But that's kind of it, isn't it, really? Like, unless you want to sort of put Rashford down the middle.
Yeah.
That's kind of...
Callum Wilson, who didn't really play, had, got an assist. That's it.
Like we said, though, he's a purple patch player, and he's not the guy going forward to play for England and sort of lead the line. So
yeah, and the tournament as a whole, how would you reflect on it? Like, what if you was just sum it up? It was like a summary
for England. For England, didn't really play anybody of note. Did what we were asked to do. Won the games we were supposed to. Had a terrible game against USA that we definitely should have won, but terrible first half against Wales, but made it right in the second half. Senegal, first 30 minutes, bit worrying, but then again turned it on, managed to absolutely blitz them away. France, again, this is the moment, and this is what I spoke about in the preview. These are the moments you need to sort of win, and you need to make a name for yourself. And if you don't, and you bottle it, which England seem to do a lot of the time, this is what happens. And until we get that moment right, and until we win one of these types of games and put a team like France to bed, it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening, and we need to find a way to sort of win these sort of games. And did the pressure get to Harry Kane? Maybe. I mean, the joke you want to go for is he plays for Spurs, so he should be used to bottling stuff, isn't it? That's the joke you want to sort of make. But I think...
Well, there's criticism about him, Sam, in big games. There's been a lot of criticism about Harry Kane in the finals and semi-finals, like Champions League for Spurs, previous tournaments for England, that he does have this thing with this knack to kind of bottle these games.
Yeah, no, it's a fair argument. And at Spurs, obviously, he's not won anything. So he's not been there and done that like a lot of these players who play for their international teams do. Like, for example, Ronaldo and Messi, they've won stuff. So they could take this pressure on themselves. Mbappe has won a World Cup at 22. He's won Liga. There's players like that. Modric, another one. these players have been there, done that, won every trophy there is to win. So while he's a great striker in the big games, yeah, there might be an argument that he hasn't.
There's always that kind of lingering feeling, isn't there, that he hasn't got past the line.
He's probably missed his opportunity now as well. Like that move to City was probably his opportunity. Now he's probably missed it now. So
yeah, I was discussing that last night with my mate, and he was saying, "No, I'd rather stay at Spurs and break the Premier League record and stuff like that." Like, shout out Tommy, he knows what I'm on about. And I was like, "Not a chance. Like, if I've got a chance to go win trophies now, I don't care about
win a Champions League." Like,
yeah, if you put him in Bayern Munich's team, he's winning leagues. He's probably getting far in the Champions League. Like, I would much prefer that. But again, he's in that kind of thing where he's a one club man at the minute. He's potentially breaking Shearer's record, etc. So. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens with Harry Kane. But obviously, this isn't a Tottenham channel. It's a United channel. So, yeah. Last thing on Southgate, Sam. Let's discuss a hypothetical situation. He decides to leave, or the FA decides to get rid of him, whatever, which I don't think would happen. What manager do you bring in and why?
I think if the FA seem like they want to go down the English route, don't they? That's what they want to seem to do. And you're like, which English manager is available right now? Graham Potter, not available. Eddie Howe, not available. You're very limited on your sort of choices, like especially sort of higher level sort of managers. If it's me personally picking, Pochettino's available. I think he's a very good tactician. He's good at developing youth players and working with younger players. We saw him do that at Southampton, saw him do that at Spurs. So I think we could do a lot worse than somebody like Pochettino. Would he take the job? I don't know. I don't know if he wants to stay in club football. I don't know if that's what he wants to do, but I think Pochettino's available and he's there. You got people like Marcel Bielsa. He's available. Do you want that sort of guy?
Imagine his football in tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Like that could be risky. And then who else have you got? Like, can you name a manager?
Tuchel.
Would he take that job? I think he wants the Germany job. I think that's the job.
And a German manager in England, like, there's always that kind of thing with that.
I think he wants to, every German manager wants to manage Germany at some point, don't they? They all want to do it. Jurgen Klopp has said he wants to do it, and I'm sure Tuchel does as well.
Not the best time though for him at the minute. Like, it was pretty disappointing, I thought, in the World Cup.
Yeah, no, they were poor. The sort of only standout player they had was that Musiala, wasn't he? He was the only sort of player who sort of stood out for them. So.
Well, there's an argument with Southgate to play devil's advocate. Why should the FA get rid, or why should he leave when, on record, really, he's the greatest, if not one of the greatest managers that England's ever had? He's took them the furthest in any of the tournaments. Back in, obviously, with Alf Ramsey, won the World Cup in the late 60s. It's not even comparable, the football, to the high level of football that it is now. So, in my personal opinion on this one, Southgate has achieved more as an England manager, like, based on the competition. Whether or not it was more difficult or not to win it in the 60s than it is now, I would suggest that it is now. Which is much more tougher competition. So, if that argument's placed on the table, what's your reply to that?
I would ask you, do you think Southgate has reached his ceiling? Do you think this is as good as he can
Potentially.
do? Like,
Potentially.
Do you think he can get over this hump and get us past and get us, like, to, in these big moments, like Harry Kane penalty, for example, can he build a team and make a team that's capable of getting past those moments? I think he's hit his ceiling personally. I think he's took this team as far as his limit can go. I don't think he can do any better than he has done. His opportunity to win something was the Euros. That was on a plate for him. We should have beaten that Italy team. That was a poor Italy team. We were there, and he should have just took the brakes off, and we could have absolutely blitzed that Italy team and won. And they didn't. They played pragmatically. They let him get back into the game, and we ended up going to penalties. And we all know how it goes to penalties when it's England. It doesn't go well.
I find myself sympathising with them kind of things, situations, because you go 1-0 up. You saw it happen with France. When France went 1-0 up yesterday, they kind of went, not sat back, but it was like, we can just rely on the counter-attack and try hit him. And then we got back into it, and Harry Kane scored. So I sympathise with managers that do that in a final, because it's one-off games. They don't come around very often, and finals are like, once you got that advantage, the odds are automatically in your favour then. So then it's like, do you keep these odds or do you be bold and brave? And I don't think many managers have done that in finals before, in my personal opinion. So I do get what you're saying, because, you know, it's a semi-final in the World Cup, a final in the Euros, quarterfinals and thing. Now do you go into this Euros confident with the players that you have, but then not trusting in the manager? Like, what's your opinion when we go into the Euros now? It's obviously 2 years away, so there's going to be a lot of things that happen between now and then. Does the manager change? Do we get new talents kind of popping up? Are you happy with the current crop of players we've got?
I don't think they change the manager. Like, I would, but I don't think they do. I think they stay with Southgate because I think he's, like you've mentioned, I think the FA believe he's written his own ticket. So I don't think they're going to force him out after, like you said, getting the furthest in tournaments that any England manager has ever done before. So I think he gets to stay. Did he sign a contract recently, like an extension?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So he's there for a while at least. So I think he stays, and I think he gets given the opportunity at the Euros. Where were the Euros in 2 years? Germany.
Germany.
Yeah. So the German team in 2 years, do you reckon they will look any better than they do? Possibly. It's very possible.
Well, I don't know. They have Musiala. Musiala's the only talent, really. I know they've got a couple of ones, but no standout ones like that, and no strikers like number 9.
So the Euros could be a very winnable tournament because Portugal have looked decent, but then obviously they've fallen at the hurdle. And then you've got Italy, who God knows if they even qualify at this point. Could do, might not do. Spain looked very ordinary due to the lack of striker.
Again,
it's France
again.
So it could well be England's tournament. I think with the crop of players, I think we have one of the best teams in Europe in terms of quality and depth. I think we are really, really good. There's a couple of areas that are a little bit lacking, like we've mentioned, Harry Kane, the number 9. We're very lacking in that sort of area. Defenders, centre backs. I think after Maguire and Stones, the drop is quite dramatic after that.
Yeah.
Eric Dyer and stuff like that. Obviously, we've got Tomori, and I hope he gets an opportunity at the Euros. The poor guy. Jesus Christ, that kid deserves an opportunity. So hopefully he gets an opportunity at the Euros and gets to sort of make his claim to this team. So that'd be great to see. I think people like Jordan Henderson, maybe that might be his last tournament because he's 33, 34.
Yeah.
So I suppose the last tournament, and then you've got people like Jude Bellingham who are just
probably be in the prime by not by the Euros. And the next World Cup will be. But you think even in another 2 years, Jude Bellingham, the level he's playing at the minute, can only get better, right?
He might end up at like Liverpool, God forbid. So yeah, he could be playing Premier League football week in, week out, Champions League football week in, week out. Yeah. So yeah, he could go strength for strength. Declan Rice, I think, solid option. And then your forwards, you've got a fantastic forward line in Rashford,
Young as well.
Saka, Foden. Sterling's getting a bit older, isn't he? He's getting on a bit, so you might have to sort of look at that, maybe get somebody else in. But there's some emerging talent in England. I think there's some young players. Obviously, Conor Gallagher didn't get an opportunity, really, did he, to play? James Maddison didn't get an opportunity to play. So there's a lot of players that I think, we've got a good crop of players, and I don't worry for our lack of sort of star talent or lack of like quality players. That doesn't worry me at all. I think we've got a very, very good team.
Yeah. And the last couple of questions on the World Cup, just very quickly if we can. With what's left, do you think France go on to win the World Cup, do you think?
If you look at it on paper, they should beat Morocco, but Morocco have made a habit, man.
It's crazy, isn't it?
They've made a fucking habit.
They've been very, very good defensively. It's hard to get past that line.
Yeah, they've made a habit of it, so it would not surprise me to see them staunch the French and then get a goal and just snatch it like they did against Portugal. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Argentina just seemed to be like limping along and just managing to get through this somehow, some way.
Messi's been incredible, though.
Messi's just dragging him by the scruff of the neck to this final, isn't he? Like, he's just absolutely dragging him.
I don't want to get into the GOAT conversation. I'm not going to do it. We're going to do that on a different day. But if he does, if he goes and wins this with Argentina and just keeps performing how he's performing,
it's him.
It's hard to argue. It's hard to argue against that, isn't it?
You've won the World Cup. Like, it's over. It's done.
Yeah,
like,
and I think Ronaldo knows that. Obviously, Portugal went out yesterday. I know he hasn't really played for him, but he was obviously in buckets of tears. Going out yesterday. So I think if he does go on to win it, it's like a Maradona moment when he won it in '86. I think he will go down as the greatest ever. That's why it's interesting. It's still interesting. We're still obviously going to watch it because some of the games are going to be very good, especially if Argentina and France get in the final. I think that's going to be a really good final.
They got to get past two very defensively sound teams, though.
Yeah, and experience. Croatia have been there, done that before. Like the thing is with Croatia though, they dragged away past Japan in penalties, and then they dragged away past Brazil in penalties.
But they know how to stop teams. They know how to stop teams. Like, they can stop teams, and that's sometimes all you need. If you can stop the other team scoring, take it to penalties. It's anybody's game.
They have a very good midfield as well that can dictate games, like Kovacic, Modric, all these guys, very, very good in midfield. Lastly, we we've got 10 days now until United play again against Burnley in the Carabao Cup, where of course is where our heart lies. It's why we do this channel. Do we pick back up on winning form, do you think, or difficult after the World Cup break? Do you think it'll be a bit of a slow start, etc.?
It depends. I don't imagine a lot of the players who played at the World Cup will play. I think we'll see a similar team to who played against Real Betis and Cadiz. So we'll probably get a very young team. You probably get thinking like David De Gea, Lindelof, Brandon Williams, that kind of ilk. I think Garnacho, Elanga, Martial. I think that's the sort of team we're expecting to sort of thing. I think the World Cup people will get a week off. They'll get Christmas off, and then I think we get full team strength back Boxing Day. Is it Nottingham Forest?
Yeah, well, no, it's the day after Boxing Day. So
I think that's when we get our full strength team back. Hopefully, no injuries. I know Diego Dallo is an injury at the minute. He's got a hamstring, which is super worrying because he's our only effective right back, really.
And if you watched Wan-Bissaka in them friendlies,
not good. And then the only other option is Terrell Malacia, played at right back, and he didn't do well last time he was there, so that's worrying. But it'd be good to see what Martial looks like with rest. Good couple of minutes. He's had 180 minutes in him now. It'd be good to see him. Garnacho again with a rest. Let's see what he can do.
Sancho coming back from his personal program.
Individual training. Me see what he looks like. It'll be very, very interesting. And of course, we will be here to cover all of it. And let's hope Lissandro doesn't get injured in the Argentina games. Please. I can't deal with that.
If you look at the teams that left, you're thinking, if Argentina or France get the final, at least, it's going to be Varane who wins another one, or it's going to be Lissandro. Yeah, who wins it. So, do you have a preference? Who you want to win now?
Lissandro, because I love him.
And then Messi.
Varane's got one. He's got a World Cup. Let Lissandro have one. Let him get one.
Fair enough. Yeah, interesting times. Obviously, we'll have coverage around the Burnley game and stuff like that when we do return for the Carabao Cup. 10 days until then, so a little bit more coverage around the World Cup. Maybe I'll throw a watch, especially in the final. If it's a France Argentina final, probably do a watch long for it, and then
let's ask you, Nick, who's going to the final? Who's winning?
I hate predicting it because it's so everything that's happened has been so unpredictable right now. Brazil going out is mental to Croatia. No one expected that at all. Morocco beating Portugal yesterday was as crazy. It's hard to see if any other final other than Argentina and France, to be honest. But if I'm going to go for a bit of a niche shout, I'll go with Croatia, France in the final. I think again a repeat of 2018, isn't it? Yeah, because Croatia beat us. And France beat them 4-2, so maybe a repeat of the final. I'll throw out there. If I was to go back and look at all our predictions, a lot of it was probably wrong, to be honest. Because this World Cup, as shitty as the things are that are surrounding it, the actual football that's been on the pitch has actually been relatively good, and there's been a lot of shocks, a lot of underdog stories. So the tournament itself has been all right. It's been quite good, but again, it has that kind of lingering thing, doesn't it, with everything that's going on.
Yeah, my shouts of Denmark as dark horse, that went well, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. No one predicted Japan did really well, man.
Morocco,
really well.
Morocco. Who fuck expected Morocco to get out of the group stage, let alone get to a semi-final? First African nation to get to a semi-final, which absolutely
and then
amazing.
Spain in that game against Morocco, the penalties that they was taking was
terrible.
poor. Like
terrible.
so bad. And Morocco go through. So I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea. But I think I am. Once the final's done, or once we get to, I think I'm ready for the return of United. To be honest, like I've got past that phase now. I want to watch United again because obviously this is why we do the channel. It's where our heart lies. We love watching them. So yeah, hopefully they get back fit, fighting. Maybe Lissandro wins a World Cup. That'd be great for him. And Messi cements his place as the GOAT. I think he does if he wins it. It's not even an argument in my opinion.
Another Piers Morgan interview incoming.
Yeah, part 3 incoming. So yeah. Yeah, thank you for joining us, Sam. Likewise, like I said, we'll have more content coming your way. Another week of World Cup content, and then we're back to Manchester United. So thank you to everyone tuning in. If you're tuning in now or later on, don't forget, I've got
shout out everybody in the chat. There was like 13, 14 people in the chat at some point. So shout out everybody to watching. Appreciate you. Support.
Big up yourself. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and yeah, we're dropping a video in the morning or probably afternoon time-ish, just my personal reaction to the game itself, because I need a few things to get off my chest. But as always, it's been great discussing it with Sam as well. So thank you for tuning in. Take care, guys, and the content schedule should be out tomorrow, so you'll know what's coming for the upcoming week. Take care of yourselves. Peace.